Thailand and Vietnam are probably two of the most popular destinations in Southeast Asia. And if you're considering to visit one of the two countries, there's a lot of things that you want to consider about. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through all the things that you need to know, the comparison between Thailand and Vietnam based on my experience of living here. These are everything you need to know if you're planning to visit Thailand or Vietnam. Let's start with one of the things that you need to figure out before making your decision, and that is the visa requirements. As we're speaking right now, Thailand just increased their tourist visa from 30 days to 60 days, which is really amazing because now instead of being able to stay in Thailand for 30 days without visa, you can stay in Thailand for 60 days without visa. So practically that gives you 2 months of free stays in Thailand. And if you want to extend it, you can also go to the immigration office and extend it for another 30 days. This visa extension will cost 1,900 Thai baht. They also launched a DTV visa, which is great if you're someone who work remotely and want to stay in Thailand. This visa will allow you to stay in Thailand for 180 days, which means you'll get to stay in Thailand for 6 months, but you need to apply it from your home country. So you need to get this visa before you come to Thailand. Its embassy and consulate might have different procedure, so you do want to do your research before you apply. But this is perfect for someone who wants to live in Thailand for more of a long-term plan, if you want to stay here for 6 months out of a year. And this visa is also valid for 5 years. The DTV visa costs 10,000 baht, which I think is like one of the most affordable. As for Vietnam, there are 25 countries that can stay in Vietnam for 30 days without visa for free. But if you're a US citizen, you need to apply for an e-visa before you come to Vietnam. They do increase the validity for the e-visa from 30 days to 90 days now. So you can stay in Vietnam for 90 days with this visa. If you're applying for a single entry visa, it will cost you 25 US dollar. While if you're applying for a multiple entry visa, this will cost 50 US dollar. Now for the accommodation in Thailand, you'll be able to find a lot of like good quality, high-end accommodation with an affordable price. Apartment building here in Bangkok, for example, usually comes with a pool, the gym, and convenient locations. Most of the accommodation in Vietnam also comes with a twice weekly cleaning, while you don't get that in Thailand. But I would say it's trickier to find a good apartment or like a room in Vietnam. It really depends on which city you're visiting. So like to give you a better overview, for example, big cities in Thailand like Bangkok, Chiang Mai, or Phuket. For a one-bedroom apartment in the city center, it can cost around $500 to $1,000 per month. In Vietnam, if you're staying in a big city like Ho Chi Minh or Hanoi, a one-bedroom apartment in the city center area typically costs around 300 to 700 US dollars per month. Now let's talk about the food and the market in Thailand and Vietnam. It's so hard for me to pick one because food in both countries are amazing. Like I genuinely really love Thai food and Vietnamese food. Although like as someone who don't really eat spicy food, I lean more towards Vietnamese food. I think the food in Vietnam definitely makes the experience of living in Vietnam a lot better when I was living in Da Nang. If we're talking about flavor-wise, obviously it's very personal. I personally prefer Vietnamese food because I love like soupy, like kind of earthy type of food that's non-spicy. And you get that a lot in Vietnam. They do a lot of soup with vegetables, seafood. But if we are comparing the variety of street food, then I think Thailand have another point from this. Night markets in Thailand are my favorite just because like you can find it in every single city in Thailand, and they have a very affordable and amazing options for street food. Or you can also go to 7-Eleven, which is the convenience store in Thailand. So they also provide affordable meals. One thing that I noticed about Vietnam is they don't really have a convenience store like 7-Eleven. So the variety of food is definitely more limited. And instead of like food market like Thailand, they have more of a restaurant next to the street. And sometimes when you find a market some of them can be really pushy. Like in Thailand, they will try to offer you something, and if you say no, they just like stop bothering you. When I was in Vietnam, they were actually keep following us and keep trying like push us to like buy something from the stores, which I did not really appreciate. So yeah, it can be a little bit more pushy in Vietnam. And I got this question a lot about like the cost of like drinking or like partying in both countries. I can't really give you an insight of that because I just don't really drink. Like I don't buy beer or like go out and drinks or like party almost never. So yeah, I'm not really sure about that cost in that aspect. But you can definitely find more of a high-end bar in Bangkok or in Thailand in general. And I think in Vietnam, although they also have that options, the most common thing if you want to drink is probably like at a pub or at a bar. As when I was living in Da Nang, I saw a lot of people getting beer and they just go to the beach, sit there and drink, which I think is like even nicer. Now let's talk about the transportation system. The transportation in Thailand are excellent. They have a lot of options. Either you want to book a Grab car, they have an easy to use transportation like the SkyTrain or the metro, and you can see it pretty much everywhere, especially in Bangkok. When I was living in Chiang Mai, they don't have that though, but Grab and Bolt are the most common like transportation app that you can use all across Thailand. And with that, you can book a ride with a car or a bike. So it's really very convenient. And if you want to make it more fun in Thailand, you can try tuk-tuk, which is like the small carriage that's very popular in Thailand. It's definitely not the most common transportation system that local use. I think it's more targeted towards tourists, but it's still a very fun experience, especially you get a tuk-tuk ride at night when they just like turn on all the neon lights. In Vietnam, primarily people use Grab. I think Bolt is not available in Vietnam, and there is no major transportation system in Hanoi, but taxi are easily available as well. But one thing you want to pay attention when you're using taxi in Vietnam, especially if you just come to Vietnam at the airport, there's a lot of like taxi scam that you want to be careful about. Basically, what I experienced is like when I landed in Vietnam, when you're going to the Grab station, there's a lot of driver who pretended to be a Grab driver, but yeah, they're not your driver. They're like, I've heard some experience of girls getting in the car without checking the plat number, and it turns out it's not their ride, and they just get robbed from that. So that is something that you definitely want to pay attention to. Always book your transportation from a reliable sources and always make sure about the plat number before you get on the car. Now for the activities that you can do in Thailand, I don't even know where to start because there's just a lot of activities, whether you're someone who's more into like adventurous stuff like going to explore the nature, or if you like shopping, trying different cafes, restaurant or bar hopping, you can find everything in Thailand. If you watch some of my previous videos, you know that Chiang Mai is still my favorite place in Thailand. And I think it hit both spots for like the convenient as a city, but also it has beautiful nature. You can easily take a day trip to this area called Mae Kampong or to Chiang Dao. We actually went there for a camping trip, and we also did a paramotor activity in Chiang Mai, so it was really nice. As for Bangkok, there's a lot of like weekend market, floating market that you can explore, or you can also go to Phuket or Krabi, do the boat tour, lay on the beach. There's just like, yeah, the amount of activity you can do here are limitless. As for Vietnam, one of the most popular one is the Ha Long Bay cruise. I personally haven't done that. What I did was I took a trip to Hoi An, which is one of my favorite places in Vietnam. So if you're going to Da Nang, it's very close from Da Nang. The city is wonderful because it's very unique. Like if you like cultural stuff, you'll love Hoi An. It's kind of like a lantern city where they lift up a lot of lantern at night. Most of the buildings are very traditional, so it's really nice that they preserve it that way. And you can also take a boat at night across the river. And yeah, and like eat bunch of street food there. If you're going to Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh, there's definitely a lot of activities, like city type of activities that you can enjoy as well. One of the most popular one, I think, is like where you can drink coffee and there's a train passing next to you. I think that's very cool. I think you won't get bored exploring Southeast Asia in that sense. In terms of safetiness, I do really think like both places are equally safe. Both Thailand and Vietnam feels relatively safe for me, as like when I'm walking like on the side of the street, you don't feel unsafe as a female traveler. So that's why I think it's really nice. Locals also are very friendly and they always try to help even if they don't speak English. The thing is like in terms of transportation, when you're getting a bike ride, it can feel like scary sometimes, especially if the drivers is like driving like too fast or didn't really follow the rules. And it is more common in Vietnam. I was being told before I went to Vietnam that the traffic there is a whole different level, and I didn't understand until I reached there. Everyone honks a lot. It's basically like they honk for everything. It's not like they're trying to be rude or something. It's like if they want to turn, instead of turning the light, they're just honk. So you might need to get used to that. But like what I always mention, if you're planning to travel to Southeast Asia, it's best to get a travel health insurance. The one that I always recommend is Safety Wings, just because it has more of a flexible subscription model. You can keep it as long as you want and you can cancel anytime. So there is no commitment or need to purchase it long term, which is perfect for travelers who are changing plans. And it also has a global coverage, so it doesn't matter where you're traveling to, you'll always get yourself protected. If you want to check out more about Safety Wing, I have the link down below in the description box. Make sure to click on the link to get some discount. Now, in terms of weather, I feel like Thailand and Vietnam are relatively similar, although I think the peak season in Thailand is usually starting from November to February, where it has passed the rainy season and the weather is like slightly colder and less humid. And the best time to visit Vietnam is from March to April. I made a mistake of like visiting Da Nang in Vietnam around November, and it was like the rainy season in Vietnam. Like most of the days it rains. I didn't really get to enjoy it a lot. So yeah, you definitely want to check how the weather is before you plan your travels. So yeah, I guess that's it. Obviously, I'm currently in Thailand right now and I'm really enjoying my time here. I probably will go to visit Vietnam at some point because I didn't feel like I got to see enough of Vietnam. I was only there for a month. If you have visited Thailand and Vietnam, let me know about your thought of both countries. Which one do you prefer and what are your experience while you're staying there? And if you're planning your travel, you want to chat more about it, I have a link where you can book a call with me. Basically, with this call, we can discuss everything about the digital nomad lifestyle, how you can start your digital nomad journey, which places to visit if you're a traveler, and yeah, figure out your travel plans. If you're interested, the link is down below, and that's it for this video. I'll see you on my next one.